Neighbors were nearby and heard the noise. She could no longer move. The violence continued anyway. The case remains a warning about silence and bystanders. Subscribe for more stories. A 16-year-old girl named Sylvia Likens was left in someone else's care. Instead, she became a victim. What began as punishment quickly turned into cruelty. Food was taken away as punishment. Other children were encouraged to join the abuse. No one intervened. Her body weakened with each passing day. She was burned and kicked while unable to fight back. Her cries were ignored. Eventually, her killers tried to stage it as an accident. She was tortured to death by the people meant to protect her. In 1960, her parents paid for her safety. The woman responsible was Gertrude Banishevsky. She was beaten repeatedly inside the home. Humiliation became routine. Words were carved into her skin. She was forced to sleep on a cold concrete floor. Sylvia died from her injuries in the house. The truth shocked the entire nation. Subscribe for more stories. He believed modern society deserved destruction. For nearly 2 decades, a man named Theodore Kaczynski waged a silent war. His targets were politicians, academics, and executives. He believed modern society deserved destruction. Instead of speeches, he used bombs. Packages arrived looking harmless. Inside were carefully built explosive devices. When opened, they tore bodies apart. Some victims were killed instantly. Others were left permanently disfigured. Mailrooms became places of fear. Universities shut down buildings. Airlines grounded flights after threats. Each attack carried a message. He demanded newspapers publish his manifesto. Fear spread across the United States. Investigators struggled for years to find him. The bombs were traced to a single mind. He lived alone in a remote cabin. In 1996, he was finally arrested. The trial confirmed political motivation. He was sentenced to life in prison. Subscribe for more stories.
On August 10, 2017, a submarine from Copenhagen Harbor left 2 people. Renowned inventor Peter Madsen and journalist Kim Wall. Known for building rockets, submarines, and dreams, Madsen meticulously planned the exploration trip, but an unexpected silence ensued. When the submarine was discovered empty, Madsen claimed he had left Kim safely. However, multiple inconsistencies surfaced during the trial, hinting at intentional deception and control. The mysterious disappearance of the submarine became a crime scene, and journalism remained unfinished. The Peter Madsen case, a descent into darkness, highlighted the unfortunate image of the brilliant inventor crashing. Truth only emerged after the discovery of several human remains, including a head and arm, confirming Kim's brutal murder and discard at sea.
He didn't just kill his victims. He drew them first. In the 1970s, a serial killer terrorized San Francisco. He was known only as the Doodler. He approached men in bars, gained their trust, and sketched their faces. Later, those same men were found brutally murdered. Police believe he killed at least 14 people. But here's the terrifying part. They knew who he was. Several victims survived and identified him, but refused to testify because they feared being outed in a time when being gay could destroy your life. So the killer walked free. To this day, his name has never been officially released. No arrest, no justice. And somewhere, the man who drew his victims before killing them may have lived a completely normal life. He mutilated her and sent the body parts to politicians in Canada. In 2012, a Chinese student named Jun Lin walked into an apartment in Montreal, believing he was meeting a modeling agent. What happened next shocked the entire world. The man behind it was Luca Magnotta, obsessed with fame, control, and attention. He filmed the crime, uploaded it online, and mailed body parts to government offices just to make sure the world was watching. Instead of hiding, he ran, traveling across Europe while following the news about himself. He was finally caught in a Berlin internet cafe, reading articles about his own case. This wasn't just murder. It was a calculated performance for global attention.
She vanished without a trace, and the town stayed silent. In 2017, two teenage girls, Libby German and Abby Williams, went for a walk along an old hiking trail near Delphi, Indiana. It was supposed to be a normal afternoon. They never came home. Before they disappeared, Libby did something incredible. She secretly recorded a man walking toward them on an old railway bridge. Just a few seconds of video, a few chilling words. That footage would haunt an entire nation. For years the case went cold. No arrests, no clear suspect, only fear and a community wondering if the killer was living right among them. People passed him in stores, worked next to him, smiled at him. 5 years later, everything changed. Police arrested a quiet local man who had lived in Delphi the entire time, blending in, unnoticed. His name was Richard Allen. What made this case terrifying wasn't just the crime, it was how close the truth had been the whole time. They abused her severely for weeks. Junko Furuta was only 17 years old when she was approached by a teenage boy she trusted. In 1988, she was lured to a house and held captive for more than a month. She was isolated, controlled, and completely powerless, while the people responsible continued their normal lives. The house was not hidden. Others were nearby, yet no one intervened. Fear, manipulation, and threats kept her trapped despite chances for help. Eventually, her body could no longer endure the abuse, and she died from her injuries. The perpetrators attempted to conceal the crime, believing they would never be exposed. They were wrong. When the truth came out, Japan was horrified, not only by the cruelty, but by the fact that the young perpetrators received relatively light sentences. Junko Furuta's case remains a symbol of institutional failure and the deadly cost of silence. Subscribe for more stories. She was assaulted, tortured, and later died from her injuries. In January 1992, 12-year-old Shanda Sharer left her home in Indiana to meet someone she believed she could trust. She never returned. Manipulated by a group of older teenagers, she got into a car thinking they would talk things through. Instead, she was taken far from home. Over the next several hours, Shanda was violently abused and tortured by multiple people. She was threatened, controlled, and prevented from escaping, while others were present and chose not to intervene. Eventually, her injuries proved fatal. When the truth came out, the case shocked the United States. The attackers were teenagers, and the level of cruelty stunned investigators and the public. Shanda Sharer's story remains a haunting reminder of how trust can be exploited and how silence can become deadly. Subscribe for more stories.